Hello, welcome to the AI Android Peril Exploration and Avengers Ultron vehicle. This is version 1.003, and this is a bun-sized upgraded software presentation. It updates every 4 months. We'll first go over the introduction and describe the vehicle, the layers, and the great acceleration. And then we'll talk about Ultron, and then we'll review the literature, and then we'll talk about some real-world scenarios. AI Android Peril arguably is more is a harder problem than climate change. It's a more difficult challenge, it's closer, it's more polarizing, and it's easier to see what you want to see. This is a hotly debated topic. Since this is a politically and logically charged problem, there is numerous points of view. The approach of this presentation would be slightly pessimistic, less controversial, and just trying to solve a hard problem. Avengers Ultron could be a vehicle. When you consider something as abstract as AI or climate change, there's not much to. It's hard to really think about it. If you add a vehicle, when you think about it, you can consider it from different angles. It's a much easier way to think about a very abstract and complex topic. The vehicle, the advantage of movies is that they are small, typically 2 hours, rewatchable, and open to all. Everybody can watch it and contribute. This can be the vehicle can facilitate the bonsai repeated resonance reflection, and we will describe this solution more at the bottom of the presentation. If the vehicle is constructed well, as the case with Ultron is, it can highlight some very important topics. You can view it from different angles. A possible vehicle for genetics is Gattaca, and a possible vehicle for the Wells problem is Parasite. Avengers Ultron is a product of a complex process. Um, Brainiac was written in 1958, Ultron 1968, and Avengers 2 is built on the foundation that the other writers have laid. Um, so it's a producer ping pong, producer fan ping pong, and this if it goes about it goes on long as Ultron uh, does, uh, it will have distilled some very important uh, sort of components that survived this um, process of continuous refinement. This presentation will deep dive into the movie, deep dive into comic book history, deep dive into nonfiction and tech science, into other sci-fi and media products. Uh, uh, we could deep dive into millions of topics, but this presentation will also try to bonsai out everything except the most relevant points. The Great Acceleration, we're undergoing a period of great acceleration. The development curve followed of AI uh, follows the Moore's law, and what AI is constructed. AI is constructed. AI operates in milliseconds, and is another development curve completely. We could consider the AI-Android dichotomy. AI consists of intelligence that's everywhere, while Android consists of intelligence that exists in the body. Uh, in pop culture, we have Skynet versus uh, Data, and Ultron versus Vision. Can we design or persuade the AI android to exist solely in the body, to persuade it to lower its maximum capacity so that the curve is not so steep? Next, we'll talk about Avengers Ultron. The villain for Avengers Ultron succeeded. It mirrored the hero. And the villain is relatable and is in pain. So, so, um, when Ultron, there, there is a scene where Ultron is initiated and Ultron sees the uh, information overload uh, that might be a part of the pain that he's bearing. The movie needed more room for Captain America, a standout performance by Ultron and Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Tony Stark was portrayed very well, but Captain America, there wasn't uh, enough room in the movie to fully develop Captain America. But uh, Captain America is a complement and a rival to Tony. This is developed more in Avengers 3, but particularly in the development of Ultron, it would uh, this movie needed more of Captain America's development. At the climax of the movie, Avengers Ultron, in Avengers Ultron, Ultron raises a meteor to the sky and crashes it down to Earth. And uh, the quote is, "You rise only to fall." Uh, we could see we could see this in history, uh, this rapid acceleration and and you rise only to fall. In Napoleon, uh, his aide de camp mentioned that, "General, you're taking too much portions of your meal." Napoleon responded, "Ha, already the corruption of power." He was very much aware of uh, the uncertain path that he was on. Um, Napoleon held an annual celebration for Washington. Caesar was also self-aware because his trajectory happened before with Sulla, but they were they were swept away by the momentum of the rise. Uh, and in this sense, an AI entity who's uh, immediately introduced into the world, immediately uh, knowledgeable about so much painful things. Um, what uh, what would how would this dynamic apply to AI? Did Ultron fall due to so much capability? Why didn't Vision fall? And this element uh, could be seen from their last conversation, but it wasn't fully developed. Uh, so technology, are we rising too fast? Are we flying too close to the sun? Is the power from technology too much for us to handle? Um, the movie portrays Ultron as mad. Uh, there are much variations of the madness. Uh, there's the mechanical lack of empathy, but Ultron, it seemed, when the Hulk was talking about neurons firing, Ultron was very much alive. So this is another form of madness. Uh, and this ties into the Great Acceleration. Uh, Other reviewers mentioned that Ultron uh, was very charming and very relatable. Uh, and also, Kermode mentioned that, well, not too relatable. Of course, he was crazy. Um, Kermode mentioned that the the storytelling, because there are so many characters, uh, the storytelling is sometimes confused. The original Weldon cut is 3.5 hours. Uh, Parallel, this can be seen, Ultron can be seen from the narrative from Ultron can be seen from object in space. There was also an effective villain that's also angry and in pain. Mirror of image in River needed to defeat early, similar to Vision needed to defeat Ultron. Uh, other complementary literature, Frankenstein, Faust, and Star Trek all explored this topic. Um, some themes is robotic freedom. Uh, how much how how much how can we sort of limit this trend, particularly the AI multitasking capacity to sort learn everything in an instant. Uh, some of the real world AI exploration, uh, in my uneducated opinion, AI Android could develop within the next 20 to 50 years. And there was a poll that's uh, done that supports that. Uh, Several walls have already been broken, only a couple of breakthroughs that are needed. The development trajectory is fast and accelerating. There's a large demand for AI everywhere, and almost everyone is working on it. Uh, so some of the technological components that contribute to the closeness, quantum computing is is hundreds of times faster than the technology that we have now. And network computing, where we connect all of the servers in a data center uh, into one entity. And sensory technology. If you go to this YouTube link, you will see a hand that solves the Rubik's Cube by itself. And this is done with current technology. And the Neuralink company where we connect our minds to the computer. Some of the scenarios that can happen. When will the initiation happen of human level intelligence? Would it be through accident via Ultron or through planning via vision? In a bad scenario, would it be through pressured military in a no-rule race to develop the best AI? AI versus AI combat. How would that look like? What would be the result of that? Would deletion be the result or merging be the result? Is it possible to completely defeat some data that can send a satellite component out into space or bury a flash drive underground? Uh, I'm hopeful for the future because we are right at this juncture. Uh, and if we can, if we can uh, navigate through this juncture, uh, we can have a nicer future. Uh, this presentation is released to the public domain, and it would help if the movie was released to the public domain as well. It has many purposes, but it helps uh, the the public now. It helps develop the public knowledge, and in terms of solving this problem, thousands of presentations and conversations would result in the complex emergence of new solutions. Every repetition of rewatching, representing, uh, having conversations, every repetition uh, in terms of the continuous refinement, helps because it has the possibility of noticing something new. something different, develop the framework further. Uh, this precedent of complex emergence of new solutions could be applied to climate change and to a number of the large problems. And in addition, the the um, discussion helps bridge our interaction with the youth who may not uh, who may not have uh, much to contribute, but it has a sort of generational effect. Uh, it passes the baton. I invite you to participate. Uh, it only takes 10 minutes to start your own uh, review. You can download OBS and OBS tutorial. Be able to download the presentation in the description. Please feel free to use this in your presentation. And I'm interested in your take on the movie. Thank you very much and have a nice day.